Yo, let's go, and welcome to the video. Today I wanted to talk about the chaotic Skyfire diamond and how it's increasing your crit damage. In my last video, I had an example of a 5500 crit and said, hey, this gem is adding 3% damage to that, so the gem's going to give you 165 damage on top of 5500 damage, and that's not actually how it works. I had a comment on that video from VanillaDough. They said on the Warlock guide on TBC Wowhead, it is stated that the meta gem that despite saying 3% extra crit damage gives a total of 9% more crit damage with Ruin. I don't know why, because I didn't find Wowhead's source to the multiplier, but I figure since Ruin and Vengeance is basically the same talent, the meta gem would have the same 9% for Boomkins as well. Just another thing that might be tipping the scales towards tier 4 head with meta. So I went to the Warlock Wowhead and found what they were talking about. It says the chaotic Skyfire diamond makes crits to 209% damage of a normal hit. And then they have here 150% times 3% equals 154.5%. With Ruin, the crit damage bonus is doubled, so 209%. That's a small sentence, but it's a lot to kind of digest and figure out, how does 150% times 3% equal 154.5%. So what is happening is if we take that 5500 from my example, the normal hit for that with just the talent, with just Vengeance, would be a 2750 normal hit. So if we add the gem to that, it's going to add that gem 3% increased damage before it adds the Vengeance multiplier to it. So it's going to add that 3% to the 150%. We can do that two different ways. We can either do 2750 times 1.5 and we get 4125. So that would be like without the talent, without the gem, it would give you that. So then we add the 3% damage to that plus 3%. So 3% of that damage is 123.75. And now with the gem, we have a 4248.75 crit. And another way to get to that, which is kind of how they get that 154.5%, is it's adding 3% to the 150%. So 3% of 150% is 4.5%, increasing that 150% by 4.5%. So we could just take 2750 plus 154.5%, and we get that same number. So now the Vengeance talent, the wording on that increases the critical strike damage bonus of your Starfire, Moonfire, and Wrath spells by 100%. That word bonus is only talking about the extra 54.5%. So we can take that 54.5%, increase it by 100%, or multiply it by 2. 54.5 times 2 is 109%. So add the 109% to the 100%. That's how you get the 209. That's how you come on. That's how we're getting to that 209 number. Instead of Ruin, it's Vengeance. So now we can take that 2750, add 209%, and we now get 5747.5. This is going to be the actual number that we would get just by adding the meta gem to a 5500 crit. Somehow if that worked and the spell power was the same and all that, the only factor that changed was the meta gem getting added, then we would actually be getting 247.5 damage on top of the 5500 damage, not 165. So a fair amount more, which is a good thing. I'm glad that I was wrong, because that just further drives my point that the meta gem I think is just more valuable than having the crafted helm. Even though having the 92 damage for 10 seconds, I think having that extra meta gem damage is going to be a lot more value than a chance on hit that could come up while you're having to move or decurse and stuff like that. So I tested it in game by doing 100 Starfires, and we had 23 crits out of that. You know, no buffs or anything. I was in my raid gear. 1034 spell power unbuffed. Didn't use my icon of the Silver Crescent or anything, just straight cast, nothing, to try to get the range and see if I could verify for sure that it's 209% damage. And you can see if we take 2136, add 209%, that we're pretty close to the max number here. We only had 23 crits, so like to work with. If we had, say, 100 crits, this would probably look a lot closer to this value here. But we can check the minimum as well. 2030 plus 209%, and even the minimum would be a little lower than that, the maximum a little bit higher. I think that kind of confirms that it's actually giving that 209% damage. Like that's how we can calculate the gem's added value to a crit. So that's going to wrap it up for this one. I hope that makes more sense than just saying that you're getting 3% added to the crit damage, because that's wrong. I hope I explained it well, how it's adding the gem damage first and then the talent damage, and how that correlates to the 209%. Tried to verify that for you to make sure there's no questions on, you know, is this actually how it's doing? I think I've done my job to clarify that. Hopefully you're convinced. If I've missed anything else, let me know again in the comments. I love theory crafting. So thanks Vanilla for the comment and bringing that to my attention, and I'll see you all in the next video.